very good evening and welcome to Third Degree. Well, we have become all too used to the images that reflect Zimbabwe today. Human rights abuses, violence, electoral fraud, dire poverty. But there is another story that amidst the current political crisis is just being ignored. That of a country ravaged by HIV/AIDS. A country where a marginal percentage of the population is receiving treatment, and a country where, according to UNICEF, one child dies of HIV/AIDS every 15 minutes. Tonight, we bring you an award-winning documentary. It was produced by Hopewell Chin'ono, who won the overall title of CNN African Journalist of the Year for his work. He tells the story of two Zimbabweans who have HIV/AIDS. It's a bit like a lotto. One receives life-saving ARVs, the other is condemned to die. Please be warned that some people may find these visuals extremely disturbing.
I decided to make a film on the HIV/AIDS situation in Zimbabwe, a film without political acrimony as has become the situation in my country. Instead, I wanted to make a film that would capture the ordinary lives of HIV carriers and to let them articulate their predicament without political spin. I started my 2-month filming journey by asking for permission to film at Harare's biggest hospital, Parere, named after the current health minister's father. The clinical director of Parere Hospital, a Mr. Sidin Makarau, simply said, "Regret can't help." Regret can't help did not deter me.
I think people really needs to talk about it. To talk about it. If your daughter is HIV positive, talk openly about it. Just like this headache, flu, The more we do that, the more we find solutions. But the more we shun ourselves and hide from the mere truth, we'll always have problems.
The difference between HIV and having AIDS is really to do with the presence of illnesses or conditions that put the patient into the AIDS category. So you could be HIV positive and not have AIDS, because basically what we are saying is that you've got the antibodies to show that you've been exposed to the virus, but you are not yet sick, or you do not yet have disorders that put you into the AIDS category. So those who have AIDS either have AIDS defining illnesses, or they have a CD4 count. Usually we say that's less than 200, and the CD4 count being a measure of your immune status, or we would normally refer to it as the soldiers or the white cells in your body that fight the disease. And those are the cells that the virus tends to attack, so you get less and less of them over time, the longer you carry on with the HIV infection untreated.
I've been affected. I've lost a young brother to AIDS. I've lost my band family to AIDS, and yes, I've been affected.
2 HIV/AIDS patients being taken care of by the River of Life Church, situated in Zimbabwe's capital, Harare, agreed to give me unlimited access into their lives and let me film their struggle with HIV/AIDS. 44-year-old Peter, twice divorced and a father of a 20-year-old son, a very lively man and comedian of some sort, and 27-year-old Angelina, a respectable single mother of 2 whose company I enjoyed very much. I respected the way in which she tried to endure her pain with dignity. People who, despite their desperate poverty, refuse to use their illness to become perennial beggars. Angelina and Peter are being helped by the River of Life Church on the outskirts of Harare in an area called Mount Hamden. Their health needs are looked after by the church medic, Dr. Rutendo Bonde, assisted by Mai Kuda, who sees to their daily needs. Mai Kuda in Shona simply means mother of Kuda. That's how people in Zimbabwe address each other when they have children. The church initiative helps 55 HIV carriers but can only afford to put 7 of them on ARVs. Peter is one of those. Angelina is not.
Ndaifamba fandangodonha fandatakurwa mufandandiswa parinyato kubva ipapo pandikaoparetwa pandikangotanga kunzwa mwiri wangu sachaita nongovhiringidzwa nemusoro unongondibata nguva dikidiri ndisuti chii chinoitika kuti musoro ukangonyarara chete ndotosimba kufamba.
Angeline has advanced HIV disease, and with that, her immunity is severely compromised. So she has picked up a fungal infection, which has affected the lining of the brain, and the lining is now inflamed, which is what is called cryptococcal meningitis.
I went to see Dr. Ratindlovu, the head of the sexual health clinic, also referred to as the opportunistic infection clinic at Pararenyatko Hospital. I wanted to ask her why people like Angeline cannot get ARVs, which can help arrest the disease progression and live better lives.
For antiretroviral therapy, one needs to be prepared. And then the question becomes, how long does it take for the healthcare workers that in that particular clinic to get that patient prepared for therapy? And you might find that some clinics will take 2-3 months, or they have such a backlog. So you may have a huge number of patients who are eligible for therapy, who are ready to start treatment, but not perhaps have enough healthcare workers, or maybe at that point in time not have enough drugs to actually start them on therapy, because we also, as healthcare workers, we have a responsibility to those that we have started on treatment. So we are forever looking at our drug supplies or the national drug supplies. So if we feel that there's a shortage, we might just decide that we should just go with treating the ones that we've already got on our books, rather than put new patients and then put those that started a long time ago at risk. And that's the reality on the ground.
I think the demand of the HIV medication is high. Many cases like Angeline's, or people who are not able to go to a private doctor and afford their own medication, have to rely on the government and also on the city clinics. And the demand is so high.
3 months zokurara vanhu vese vachiuya vachichema kuchema yoambuya vachema ibudisa musodzi vachinitarisa ndiri apa vachininamatira sevanhu mota dzichiuya dzekuriva dzedze dzichiuya navakadzi achiita kudzika akata laini kuya zonamatira ivo ava vakachema budisa musodza bonzi nani chinzi ndasara ne4 days kana kuti 4 days ndife 4 days kuti ndife.
Makaenda kuchikoro kusvika form 1?
4.
Makasvika form 4 mukapasa?
Ndakupasa ndakafoira.
Hamuna kupasa makafoira? Hamuna kuda kuzodzokorora?
Handina.
Hamuna? Saka pamakafoira makabva mazongororo? Saka kufunga kwenyu chirwere makachiwana kuti?
Handisi kunyatsoziva kuti ndakapona here kana
kuti makachiwana pane umwe wamama kudana naye? Hamuna kuzombobvira magara naye?
A woman who is empowered is able to negotiate for safer sex in a relationship. In many of the women that we meet in our practice, they are unable to negotiate for that because they depend on the man emotionally, psychologically, financially, and even for basic needs like shelter. So they cannot negotiate for safer sex when the time comes.
When I first met Angeline, her daughter Beauty was not in school because she could not afford the school fees for her, 30,000 Zimbabwean dollars, a mere 15 US cents. 7-year-old Beauty literally looks after her desperately sick mother and 6-year-old young brother. Beauty's father died and Angeline remarried Nigel's father and later separated from him. Nigel's father's young brother, who I never met on my visits, helped them from time to time from his meager resources. In the second month of my visits, I was told that he had stopped coming to see them.
Ndichengeta mwana yende wako yekuti iye hanzi mwana yandichamuda
Hanzi ndo asi mwana wa mkoma wako saka hanzi usamuchengeta kwimi hanzi munozoita sei manje kana musina anokuchengeta. I was shocked by the amount of work Beauty does for her mother, like carrying 25 liters of water for half a kilometer and making sure that the family has ate and then having to take care of herself. After arriving from one of her daily trips to fetch water, Beauty gave me an insight into her life. Saka ndiani anobikira mama manje? Achabika nasi ndiani?
Ndizo, ndini.
Ndiwo chabika, uri kubika chii nasi?
Sadza.
Sadza ne?
Nebeans.
Nebeans? Saka paunoenda kuchikoro unoenda wadyei?
Ine sadza rinenge ndasiya mupoto ndiro randinodya makuseni.
Sadza rinenge rasiyiwa mupoto nhasi ndiro raunozodya makuseni? Okay, saka pane chaunotakura kuchikoro?
Aiwa.
Children who have a relative or a parent who's sick at home, we have to make choices. And that's just straightforward choices. Do I go to school or do I stay and look after my mother? Or do I come back from school early to cook for my parent? You know, I mean, that's reality on the ground.
Ndakatanga hangu kugara nemudzimai wangu kutanga tikagara tisikatari tese mwana ndikarambana naye mune zvakanaka pasure pekuti ndambata nechikomba kuramba mosa ndakarambana nemudzimai wangu ndakatoita kumubata nechikomba twatasiyana tine mwana mumwe chete ndoratsvaga mukwadzi wechipiri mukwadzi wechipiri handaiziva kuti ane chirwere kazi but ini ndini ndakata mistake bhodzi munhu mapundu anga anawo yaioneka maround black semunhu anga akasimba akane zvese staff yakanaka so saivana kuti hano otherwise munhu ari special special staff. Let me get this stuff is special, maybe it can be special to me. Anditika no trust stuff here manogana
makazoziva rini kuti makurwara manje?
ndazoziva 19 sana kuti 2000
makazoziva 2000
2000
sei?
kuziva kana kazita ndezvekuti unongonzwa kuti kuti mapeni tisinganzwisisiki kuti onda kunorapwa odzoka futi otanga futi kurwachi same disease inenge iri so very easy kwauri peni yacho kazi but isingabvume treatment.
The prevalence of HIV is 1 in 4, so we say 1 in every 4 persons is HIV positive, so that would then translate to nearly 3 million in the country having HIV antibodies, and then the question becomes how many of that lot have got AIDS, in other words should be on treatment, and that's the difficulty. In the past we've used that figure of around 600,000, but that was 2 years ago that we were saying we estimate that 600,000, at least 600,000 require treatment now. And the question is how many of those are on treatment, and right now we are aware that in terms of our figures, just over 60,000 are supposed to be receiving antiretroviral drugs in the country. So we've got a huge backlog.
This is 2 years ndakafa. Kauti 3 years ndakatofa.
Pasina mushonga.
Pasina mushonga. basi pakutoti mushonga chete nemwoyo wechechi because zvinhu zvinondirerukira kana tiri kuchechi.
Yeah, I've been given a prescription by Dr. Bonde, and we've come to one of the biggest pharmacies in Zimbabwe, Plaza Pharmacy, to get a price quotation for ARVs. Well, I've just got my quotation back from the pharmacist. Caletra, one of the drugs that is used for HIV treatment, is 12 million. And to put it into perspective, a doctor in Zimbabwe earns about 6 million Zimbabwean dollars. So it will need to take them 2 months' salary to be able to buy that drug, which is for 1 month. But there are also other cheap drugs like Stalanev, which is a first-line drug, which costs about 2.2 million Zimbabwean dollars.
We are having a bit of a problem with, say, the illicit trafficking of ARVs. That's antiretroviral drugs, from especially Botswana, where there's a massive rollout. South Africa, there's also a massive rollout. And you find that when patients come into a referral institution, to a hospital, and they get here and there are no doctors, then they're left between a rock and a very hard place. So they decide, well, I'll go to so and so who can help me. And we then, at the end of the day, we see these patients then continue to take these drugs or start ARVs without knowledge, okay, taking even the wrong regimens and the wrong drugs, and at the end of the day, they are coming in, they are worse off, and most of them don't make it.
Last week, I'm serious. Last week. Mama, which Mama, which house is going to figure out? Ndakaona kama kuchema msora mukati maikuda zvandandisa zvigona. Mama kutya.
Ndachirwara paya.
Maitya chi?
Patsai dzeshe ndakarwara pati zviro ndoruno zviri pamberi. Zvazvandikunda.
Sazvazotanga kuita nani reni?
Pandikaenda ndikanobayiwa uko ndopandikaona musoro wacho chete haungodi mhepo chete.
Ndaona maakufamba kamega muchimhanya mani. Mabuda muchimhanya kamuno.
Kubuda kumhanya kaiko kutadza kuti ndinyatsotsika kuti gi.
Asi musoya maitoda kubatirana. Patakasvika muchibva kugezeswa paya. Saka manyasodya yenyu nasi?
Ndadya.
Okay.
Oh, Toddy, what shall we do? Sinzinjan,
what shall we do?
The song really came to be after realizing the stigma attached to AIDS. And it was a song designed to trigger discussions among us people. It's got lots of questions and no solutions. Because I really wanted people to start talking about it. The more they talk about it, the more the stigma falls away. So that particular line really was posed as a question. What would you do when you know you are living with death in your hands?
Mama vasingakwanise kuita basa.
Mama ungakwanise kuita basa. Saka wawaitire nasi.
Ndatora panze ndikatsvaira mumba ndikasika mabredi ndikachera mvura.
Saka une makore mangani?
Ndine 7.
Une 7 years. Samangwana uchaenda kuchikora? Uchaenda kuchikora. Uri grade ani?
2.
Uri grade 2. Okay. Zvinombokunetsa here zvekufunga? Pane time yamunombofunga zvakawanda wanda?
Unombofunga zvekushaya hwako.
Unombofunga zvekushaya hwako? Ine muchifunge?
Vana vangu chaenda muchifunga.
Muchifunga vana venyu? Tisha muchifunga nevana venyu?
Kanochengetwa nani?
Vanochengetwa nani kana zvaita sei?
Nendokurwara vasiswa vachengeta
saka vana mukanyanyorwa vari sustained vana vachasara vachichengetwa nani?
vanoita mastreet kids mutown.
Vanoita sei?
Vanoita mastreet kids mutown.
Vanoita mastreet kids mutown? Manje vangakwanisa kugara vari mastreet kids?
Zvinooneka zvakaita sei?
2 weeks later, Angeline was admitted into Parenyatwa Hospital. She asked me to check on her kids. I told her that I had been given clothes for her children by a law student who was touched by the video footage I had shown her. She was very thankful. The law student asked me not to reveal her identity. She said it was between herself and God. Meanwhile, Peter was getting on with his life. I decided to go and spend the afternoon with him after he came back from church. Chii chakaita kuti muti mimi kwandiri inini ndinoda hangu kuti ndibude mufilmu renyu riri kutaura nezve HIV.
Echesa ndibvume ndine chido chodadzisa vanhu ndokwati chirwere chikachi pabati andakachita achina kunyanya kundigutsa. Sandoti mwe munhu azive ende kuti azive zvinge zvichibvira azive achindiona achitaura ndichitaura iye achinyatso kuteresesa nekuti ine ndinacho. Achandafungidza tariro yangu chechayo nekuti mwandikomborera ndatanga ndata nani bijana ndagatsvaka mumwe wofuti ane chirwere ichochi ndeta kuti zvindirike kana usiku popfunga pokutaura bozi kuda nemukadzi kazotanzi kuri ane mubhurangeti kusangana kwete hazisirizvo rudo kana imi mukazova kuti rudo mukadzi wako changangoti everyday watisangana hazviite kuita kuti pfungwa dzangu dziite sei ndoda kuachirwa hembe anotandana abe akachiwa chawo hembe iye futi kuko chakanyaita hembe wachitanga ari kumba kwake ka anoitawo nani.
15 people have died from an HIV-related illness in Zimbabwe since you started watching this documentary film, according to the World Health Organization statistics. Is Angeline going to be one of them?
I mean, she's already receiving the treatment that we would normally give in the public sector, which is fluconazole. We know fluconazole is not the best treatment for her condition which she has, which is cryptococcal meningitis. The best treatment would include amphotericin B and a drug called flucytosine for at least the first 2 weeks, but we can't afford to use that at all in our public sector.
I decided to talk to some of the hospital doctors who are constantly on strikes to find out why they embark on industrial action.
Because they're disgruntled. Yes, we want to save lives. The lives of the patients come first. It's difficult to take care of other people when you're having trouble taking care of yourself. You've got to worry literally about where your next meal is going to come from, especially with the current situation now, where you're going to get meat. For those of us who don't stay at the hospital premises, your transport, particularly if you don't live within a walking distance of the hospital. And you know, after 5 years of medical school, and for others 5 years and a couple of years of working, and you still don't have assets like cars or your own place, or you haven't amassed just enough basic things like TV, and a fridge, a stove, a bed, and so on. It's very, very frustrating.
At the College of Health Sciences, there's a 50% vacancy rate, and those are people who, in one way or another, have to contribute to tackling this HIV/AIDS care issue. So there are not enough of us. I know in terms of pharmacists, 2 years ago, so we used to say we had less than 10 fully fledged pharmacists for the whole country, and that's pretty bad.
In our HIV positive patients, they need regular follow-up, regular monitoring, especially those who are on antiretroviral drugs. And as such, when doctors are on strike, for instance, they go on strike for 3 months, that means that patient comes in and that follow-up is not done, that monitoring is not done, the treatment monitoring is not done. And when that is not done, it's quite detrimental to the patient's well-being.
She's not looking very well. I mean, if anything, I'm getting a bit worried about how long she has in terms of staying alive. She's certainly worse than what she was yesterday. She's getting confused and seems to have less strength. What are your chances of survival? At the moment, they're very small.
Well, that's certainly one of the most profoundly heartbreaking stories I've watched in a long while. Little Beauty, now 8, has been orphaned. Hopewell Chin'ono, who shot this documentary, has donated every cent of his prize money from CNN and all other proceeds that he's made from this documentary to a trust fund for Little Beauty. And if you wish to contribute to the fund or simply to comment, you can fax us on 011-880-8882 or email us on thirddegree@etv.co.za. We will be talking to Hopewell on Third Degree Plus, and next week we bring you exclusive footage of women and men who have committed crimes of passion. We speak to them inside South Africa's jails. Good night.